Hey, sister, sitting store, what am I about to preach on? Damn, sister, close the door. Watch what you step out on. I said, hey, sister, so before you become a sin, I said, hey, sister, there is more, even if you think there isn't. When you live your life day to day, there will always be obstacles in your way. But don't let that get you down, girl.
It is day 27. Hey, sister.
Hello. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. I cannot believe that we are at day 27 already. Oh my gosh. I'm already feeling like I'm already missing it. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to savor the last few days as much as possible, you know? Oh my goodness. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here, for saying yes. I appreciate that.
Thank you for holding the space. Absolutely.
Yes, yeah, this has really been, I don't know. I mean, I'm glad everybody else gets to listen to these conversations, but selfishly, these have been really good for me.
Yeah.
You know? Like I've been enjoying meeting everyone. Some of the women who've been on here I've met for the first time. You know, yeah, in this space, and it's been really encouraging to just have all of this perspective, you know, and this I don't know, it's like we're all looking at the same thing and we're coming from these different lenses, and then we can all learn from that. And I think it's so powerful. I mean, I went to university like a lot, and I think this is like better.
Absolutely. All the stories are so much fun, and it's just like following along their journey and like their little story and turning points and how did they get to this place, and it's just like so inspiring and so empowering too.
Yes, absolutely. So again, welcome everyone to our conversation here today. Dawn, I had the pleasure of meeting you and doing the opposite of this. Last year. And I would love for you to share with everyone, you know, who you are, what you do. I know you have a big win to celebrate this week, and I would love for you to share that as well, please.
Yay. Thank you, Nadia. So my name is Dawn, and I'm a certified mindset and business coach. And I recently got certified in NLP, TAM technique, and clinical hypnotherapy. So that's a huge win for me. And I'm here to serve women entrepreneurs to build their soulful business to the next level and expand their income and also make an impact in the world so they can feel like they belong and also be the soulful leader that they always wanted.
Yes. And I mean, y'all could hear the alignment dripping out, right? Like as Dawn is talking, right?
A little bit.
And it's really amazing to be able to hear our visionary women come out and say, look, these are my accolades and I'm here to serve. You know, this is where I've been and what I've done, and I'm here to gift it, you know, and I also know the value of my gifts, you know, and I'm doing this in an entrepreneurial space. And that really calls on all of us as visionary women to connect and to be able to tap into those services so that we can build better, you know, the structures that are here. We didn't have a lot of input. So now we get a chance to build better. Yes. No, Dawn, you're a mommy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So share a little bit with us about, you know, being an entrepreneur and being a mom and all the joys that go with it.
Oh my gosh. So I started my business last year, and I had an opportunity to take a maternity leave. And during that time, right before COVID hits, I was staying at home with my baby. And just suddenly, like, I wasn't feeling fulfilled in my job. And I felt like it wasn't what I meant to do. So I had to take a leap of faith to like take that courage to step out and say, this is not I want to be for my future. And especially for my daughter as a role model, I don't want her to kind of follow any trendy trends. So I, took a step forward and decided to create my own business in coaching. And at that time, it was very tough because she was still very young, and while I was like managing doing a podcast and also helping people while taking care of like a 3-month-old, I my stress level was probably high up there, and it taught me a great lesson to how to communicate even with a young baby and people around me, but also how to give grace to myself and be patient with myself, especially the starting point.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing how babies really push our communication skills, and our listening skills, because now you're in tune to all the nuances of, what that noise means versus that noise. And we really do, if we're tapping into that, if we're present in that moment, we really can become better communicators because we know that they're saying something to us and we know it's our fault that we can't understand.
In some way, yes. Yeah.
So
It teaches me how to like listen to them and also being observant and also paying attention on the words that I tell her and also talk to myself, because once I build that pattern of self-talk, I know I'll eventually like spill it out accidentally. So I have to be super careful with that too.
yes, and that's the huge mindfulness piece, right? Because we are creating so much of their future at that point in time, right? Sometimes innocently, like you said, it's gonna spew out accidentally. And so whatever is in there is what's going to come out. And I think I would agree with you that a lot of us as moms, we kind of go through this massive self-awareness, as throughout our pregnancies and when the babies are born and whatnot, because you know how delicate this moment is. You know that they may not remember specifically, but that the words and everything that they're exposed to will still take root. And it's such a delicate and precious time. And I'm so happy to hear you talk about, your own self work and recognizing the connection between, your growth and what you're able to do for your daughter. Again, that mask on us first, right? Like understanding we got to do it for ourselves first. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, Dawn, thank you for sharing with us about your wins and how you serve your community and your sweet little baby girl. And congratulations on taking that jump. That was not small. I know you kind of mentioned it, but that's a big thing.
A little bit.
So congratulations on that.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure that you're talking about it now, but I'm sure that was in the moment, lots of different emotions happening all at once. But you're here, and that's a really big deal. So congratulations to you for that.
Thank
And
you.
I'm sure it's somewhere in there when you came to grips with the fact that you were not feeling fulfilled in that space anymore. And I mean, I don't know what your job was, but it could have been a great job. You know what I mean? Like the understanding is that it's not about the job type and it's not about the salary. We come to a point in our lives where it's more than that, and we're seeking this higher level of fulfillment, this higher level of contribution. And somewhere in there, when you decided, like, you didn't decide to change your job, you decided to go from job to entrepreneurship. And I'm sure that you had to have some idea as to what it is that you wanted to produce and whatnot. Throughout that process and throughout your life and any other process, what would you say was the importance of vision?
To me, a vision is having a goal, and that it's a long-term lifetime goal that is consistently changing. And that is able to help me talk me through to stay consistent on my daily actions and also what am I bringing to the table to the community. So for me, in the beginning of my entrepreneurship, I was thinking that I was good at design, so I'm just going to take that skill to help clients with branding design and website design. But I kind of lacked of like that long-term goal on how can I bring a ripple effect to the world. So after realizing that and having a lot of mindset shift and also transformation within myself, I realized that I need to do something that is much bigger, that is holding a space for a community, and also how can I inspire them to be their authentic self without fear of judgment or like feeling insecurity in what they look like, because that's a huge part of my personal journey. That came to that point, and it helped me stay focused with a vision, and also every step that I take, it means something. There's an intention behind it. So it really a huge reminder for myself and keep myself on track on this vision.
Yes, yes. And you know what? That the needing to keep on track, despite the distractions, right? That I never even recognized the closeness in those words, right? Like a distraction is to actually take you off the track, right?
Yeah. It's actually like a one, yeah.
Yeah, it's just as you were talking about it, and it's so true because the vision doesn't stop the distractions. Having that clarity of vision doesn't mean that other things won't come up that look really good and sound really good, or they're pulling us away because we're afraid, or we're trying to be protective or anything like that. But the vision does help us to recenter and keep going. And you talked about some of those, like your own journey there, and some of the things that a lot of us as women in leadership are dealing with, right? Being held back because of things like, well, how do we look? How do we look physically? How do things look? How is it perceived by others? And there's so much that we are dealing with in terms of those confidence levels to keep going forward. But when we do have that vision and we start hitting rung 1, rung 2, rung 3, that also builds the confidence to keep going because we know where we're going. That's so powerful. Thank you for that. Now, you talked about your having a job and being somewhere where things are stable and life is predictable to some extent. You talk about this big shift into entrepreneurship, being a mom, and throughout all of this, throughout your travels, throughout your life experiences, has there ever been a time where you felt as though your voice had been in any ways diminished or silenced?
Absolutely. And that is came from a little bit like a backstory. So I grew up in Asia, and during that time when I was growing up, we were taught not to ask questions,
Mhm.
and we were taught to submit to the authority. And so when I was a kid, I was so afraid of asking question, and even seems like raising a hand at the back of the room, like telling your answer, it's almost as if like it's hard for me to tell my correct answer or like my perspective. So I felt like that part of my life really brought into um, my work environment at that time, and I was very obedient, if you will, of the work environment, and I wasn't taking any risk at all. And I think that was part of the reason why I felt like my voice wasn't being heard, and I felt like I was this humongous rock and waiting to be come out and waiting to be heard and waiting for be to be recognized. And And it seems like whenever I try my best to show off my skills, tell people what my thoughts are, it's like they're not being heard. So when I decided to take a leap of faith to jump into entrepreneurship without really thinking too much, I knew for the fact that I always wanted to be my own CEO, and I don't know how, but I'm just gonna do it. And I felt like some people around me might have a little bit concerned because I don't really have a full plan yet. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know I'm doing something that is staying me out of that 9 to 5 job that I don't fulfill. So I felt like that that major shift have definitely told me to speak up, especially on social media, whether it is on trend or not. There are some perspective where I got the opportunity to tell my story. I got the opportunity and platform to share other people my side of things and my knowledge and how I see things differently. And it was such an empowering experience as well to let other women know that you don't have to submit to authority. You don't have to blend into society of what they're saying, because everyone's voice are meant to be heard. And that might seem scary at first. I'm not gonna lie, it was scary. And it was that uncomfortable made it comfortable, that on what was Will Smith said, like, fear on the other side of fear, it's success. So that is something that I kept on my mind for a long time, that I'm just keep on pushing myself even when it's uncomfortable. And I'm here to encourage you all to just voice out your perspectives too.
Yes. We've been having quite a bit of conversation on being uncomfortable with discomfort. And recognizing that discomfort is there to tell us something. And that there's something to learn in this moment. And you're right, there are so many of our we're hearing from women who are coming from different cultures, but we're seeing that common trend throughout these cultures that says, okay, you be quiet. And to be able for us to come to bring ourselves to that place of, wait a minute, what used to be comfortable because I was following, along with what I was being taught, what used to be comfortable is no longer comfortable. Now this is uncomfortable. Staying silent is now becoming uncomfortable. I do want to say something. I do want to be heard. And that's like our first clue. It's time to move from this mindset, into the next level and opportunity and way of thinking. And that understanding that the discomfort, just like if let's say you have a headache, right? A headache is rarely the thing, but it's usually a symptom of the thing, right? And discomfort is just like that, right? The discomfort in that moment isn't the enemy, right? You don't just want to try to get rid of the discomfort by soothing yourself, but you want to understand, okay, what is this revealing? I am now outgrowing old ways of thinking and behaving, old concepts. I love my traditions and I love where I come from and I love my people, but this doesn't actually serve me if I want to grow, if I want to expand, if I want to be bigger than. And you talked about people around you being concerned, and concern it's a funny animal, right? Because concern is coming out of fear, and it is delivered from a place of love. But that concern is stifling also, and so how do we give ourselves grace? How do we extend grace to those who really do love us? They really are thinking about what they see as best for us, and how do we gracefully then paint a new picture, of what really is our determination for better for our own lives. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
And I think there's an important part is to really coming from a place of love of ourselves too, to really rework our mindset, because as you know, like from 0 to 7 years old, we take all these expectations, all these learnings without like into our subconscious mind. So we don't really have the ability to say no to certain things. So now it's really digging back into those limiting beliefs, those expectations from society, and understanding that we have the power and we just need to fill in our confidence, and really taking out all those quote unquote trauma or like past experiences, and heal from those experiences and learn the lessons that we have to learn, so that we can help other people, so that we can step out from this comfort zone, this box that we are in, and let our voice to be heard. So there is a huge mindset work within us too, and I think that we need to value our self-worth in that sense too.
Yes, yes. And it's starting from a place of self-love is really, really crucial, because we also don't want to be beating up ourselves to create the vision. You know what I mean? Like that's not the conversation we're having either. That coming from, I love myself too much to stay here.
Absolutely.
I love myself too much to remain in this box. I love myself too much to live an unfulfilled life. I love myself too much to, avoid tapping into my own potential. It really does come from there. And when we bask in that self-love, we can offer it more gracefully to those around us, and understand their journey as well, and how they need to grow, and be able to, to support them in their growth. As we also, you talked about it earlier in terms of communicating, we also advocate on our own behalf as to where we need support. It's a beautiful thing. It's a really beautiful thing, especially when you get to experience it yourself. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. This week it's just a huge transformation for myself, and I'm like, whoo, I'm just like in cloud 9.
And you deserve to celebrate, I'm telling you.
So, yeah.
No, you can talk about these things. You can talk about growing up in an Asian country. You can talk about growing up in one culture, and now you're living somewhere else, so you're experiencing a different culture. Your daughter is now going to be raised in a culture different to your original upbringing, with more influences. Myself as well, growing up where I was not a minority, right? And living in North America where, suddenly all the rules have changed, right? Everything is different. It's all upside down. But you talked before about recognizing that we have that power, that it's already within us, it's there, and we can tap into it. And we have the power to take control of the narrative. We have the power to write the version of our story we want to be told. How does that make you feel?
I absolutely love this question, because thoughts is everything, right? Thoughts creates our own reality. And in NLP, which I just recently, certified, not saying that, but NLP, it's like telling us that our thoughts really help us create that emotion within us, and then affect our actions that we're going to take, and hence affect the environment around us. And so this is very similar to like, if you believe in manifestation or not, but this is like the scientific side of it. Like our thoughts control our emotions, our actions, and how we see ourselves. And so when we are able to control, I don't want to say control, like have a powerful mindset, powerful thoughts within ourselves, positive self-talk, and really embracing who we are actually embracing the power within ourselves, that we are so capable of achieving anything, because we, as humans, as women, we already have the resources within us, and we just need to allow ourselves to accept the fact that we have the resources. And I think that a lot of us, for myself example, I used to play down myself a lot. I thought, quote unquote, being humble, it's like, oh, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that. But that's not helping you. That's actually hurting you. Like, if you're good at something, say it. Like, you are good at drawing, you're good at designing, you're good at talking, or like, hosting a show. You actually have to embrace and celebrate those wins, and actually embrace the talents and gifts that you have, and own it. Really own the fact that you're good at those things, and the thoughts that you have within yourselves do create the reality that you want to live in. So circle back to that, the number one question: what is your vision? So hold that vision. If you think you can't do it, you absolutely can do it. So the narrative is freaking huge.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, understanding that, and I'm going to ask you to explain what NLP and time and what these acronyms mean, so everybody gets where you're coming from too. But the idea that when we look at this question, it's like, it's a two-part question, right? It's the narrative of the past that we can no longer change, and then the narrative of the future, which we can design. And like you said, coming from that powerful mindset that says, I can actually affect the outcome. I can make new decisions. I am not trapped in repeating cycles of oppression, repeating cycles of poverty. I'm not trapped in these cycles. I can make new decisions. Just because my parents did things this way and they had these results does not mean I have to do it that way and produce similar results. And it is such a place of power, like you said, and to be able to come to that understanding that says, I can think differently, so I can feel differently, so that I can act differently. And these self-fulfilling prophecies, that terminology doesn't have to be a negative, right? Self-fulfilling prophecy does not have to be a bad thing. It could be something good too, right? And I just also want to pull out that point about, like, self-deprecating is not humility. No. They're not the same.
No, they're not.
And that resonates with me so much, because I was really good at playing small. I excelled there. I was really good at sometimes being in a conversation, and in my head I'm like, nope, that's wrong. They have no idea what they're talking. But I'm not saying anything. I'm just like, this is all like opposite to fact. But I'm just going to hold on to knowing that quietly, because I don't want to disturb the boat too much, and I don't want to, step on too many toes. And, and then I'm like, oh, well, I don't really know much about that. You keep talking, do your thing. And then to come to that point where I realize that doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve the other person, because now what I've done in my fake sense of humility is I have now robbed that person of an opportunity to know something. And when I started reframing it that way, I started realizing I do have some responsibility, yes, but also, where is it coming from? It has to come from that place of love that we talked about before, And so when it's then not about, oh, well, let me educate you today because you don't know nothing, when that isn't the driving force, then that searching for humility becomes a little clearer, because now I'm delivering to you a gift, which you were freely allowed to accept or reject.
Yeah.
And that to me is the humility and the power of making those new decisions that says, okay, I can speak up for myself, and I can speak well of myself, and I can do that from a place that is loving me and loving those around me, and I can offer new perspective and new insight and new education without it being, showboating or any of that. We can skip all of that.
Absolutely. And definitely have to honor our past as well, to forgive those who hurt us. And I
Yes.
think that's another releasing part that I've learned, is that it doesn't mean that we are allowing the past kind of like let it go or push it on the side. It's more like honoring the fact that I had experienced these things, but I choose to release that. And
Yeah.
that had becomes my power, and how I use those experience that I have and turn them into something even greater, that serving more people and being humble about it, to just spreading the love to the world and making that impact.
Yes, absolutely. And we keep talking about impact, and coming from a nonprofit world, so because I promote social entrepreneurship, I dance between for-profit and nonprofit, and this talking about impact is something that's relatively new in the for-profit space. And it's such a crucial conversation for all of us to have, recognizing that wherever we apply our talents, that outlook really needs to be about transformation in the lives of others. So whether we're delivering services or products or programming, or solutions, at the end of the day, that impact needs to be driving us. We want to see positive change in the lives of others, not just here, but in times to come as well. So thank you for that. And please, before I ask you, I do want to just tell people what time and NLP and your new certifications, what they mean.
Yeah. So NLP stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming, and it is taking our external world, external information and experiences, and filter through our brain and convert into something much more powerful, which is our thoughts, and create our new reality. And that is so important because it teaches us how to be a better communicator, because we all have different filters within ourselves, which is beliefs, identity, past experiences, the values that we hold. And all these filters really help us transform who we are as a person. So using NLP really helps communicating with our clients, but it also empower our mindset and our thoughts and creating the success that we want. And for a time technique, it is traveling back to your timeline to set goals like CEO, and also releasing those limiting decisions that you made for yourself. For example, the common one is that I can't make money, or I can't have enough clients, or I can't be successful. And all these decisions, it's limiting you from being successful or being where you want to be. And so by asking powerful questions like, when did you decide that? Like asking, when was the time you decided to not be successful? Right. And so we will travel back to the timeline of yours and discover what was holding you back and release those negative emotions along it, so that when we put ourselves in the future, we're well equipped and we make better decisions for ourselves. So time technique is such a powerful tool. It's great at releasing negative emotions like fear, anxiety, hurt, guilt. And it's also a great tool for releasing limiting decision, like I said before. And the other thing that I got certified is the clinical hypnotherapy, because all our identity and values and beliefs are located in our subconscious mind. So with hypnotherapy, we're able to bypass our subconscious mind to bypass our conscious mind to subconscious mind to make those solid foundation changes. And And hypnotherapy, it's totally safe, and it's not like, the stage put you on show, that sort of thing. They're only seeking for attention, but you have total power within the whole session. It's basically a very, very relaxed state, and it allows you to go into your dream state. So that is the hypnotherapy, which is very useful for anxiety, or weight loss, even cutting out some bad habits that you have, and also releasing some trauma that you have.
Yeah. I think one of the things that stood out there to me in the time technique, and something that it's powerful in so many different ways of looking at it, that we made the decisions that brought us here. And where we are experiencing success and not experiencing success, we made a decision previously. And usually when I say that, I'm usually talking about obvious macro decisions. I decided to act, and that action led to something else, and that has created success, or not failure, but lack of success in a specific area of my life. And so to be able to come back to that and say, but there are also micro decisions that we make. Right? They're micro decisions that we make about who we maybe could be, should be, why, where, all of these things. They're those smaller decisions that we make that we don't necessarily recognize them, because they didn't result in an immediate action. Mm-hmm. But they have determined many of our actions over a long period of time. And I think that's something I really want to pull out there for all of us to hear. And going forward, now we can make big decisions that are new and better for us, and we can make small decisions that are better for us. And I talk about, we understand microaggression, but what about microaffections? What about really small, consistent ways to show affection? How can we do that for ourselves and for those around us? These mini decisions, these many decisions, that's also a massive point for us. So if you want help with that, go to Dawn, because I don't, this is Dawn's space. Yeah.
I just want to add a little thing, because sometimes for time technique, it's affected externally. So like, say a baby cry and no one picks up her up, she automatically can subconsciously build a belief that no one cares about me. Right. So sometimes it's not about us making that decision as well. Sometimes it's that subconscious belief that we thought no one care about us, right, or we thought this occurred because I'm not good. So that's just something that I want to throw it out there too.
Yes, absolutely. How other people's decisions and behaviors and patterns have affected us, and how we've internalized those. Absolutely. Yes. Now, you've been through all of this, and you're having a victorious week. You've put in the work, you've done the studying, you've done what you needed to do for your certification. You've made a huge step. You've come into mommyhood, you've come into entrepreneurship. There's lots of big changes going on in Dawn's life.
Maybe I'm playing it small too.
But I really want you to paint for us a picture of the imagery that comes to your mind when you hear a word like victory. Because I don't know if you've ever considered these big changes within the last 18 months of your life as victorious, So what imagery comes to your mind when you hear a word like victory?
The word victory, I imagine myself stepping into like finishing a war, I would say, like riding a horse, and I'm like holding my own magic wand, saying like, I freaking did this, like, look at me, I did it. And it's that recognition that everyone's like, oh my God, Dawn, you're amazing. So I think like victory for everyone should be, well, not should be, but like it's recognizing your own power, and it's recognizing how far you have come, and recognizing how much win you have already collected, and owning your power and never step down for anything else or anyone else. And it's just owning yourself and taking responsibility of the vision that you have.
Yes, yes, victory. Yeah. Dawn is on a horse, y'all, with her,
it's a white horse too. Like,
on her white horse with her wand, y'all. Like that. and you know that idea that victory is about owning it. You know, owning that power, owning the quote unquote mistakes and the consequences, because they've brought us here and they've made us stronger. Owning all of it, resting in it, you know. I love that idea that we can fully express ourselves, fully express the power that we know that we hold. And going back to, again, like you talked about, circling back to the vision, you know, and knowing that it's because we're going where we said we were going to go. Absolutely. Knowing that that's been the driving force the entire time. Thank you so very much, Dawn, for sharing with us today. I have to say, I have a special relationship with your name.
Oh, really? So your mom's name?
No, dawn is my favorite time of day.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yes. And I've always loved the renewal of the sun coming up. Mm-hmm. And to meet the sun, that was a big thing for me, to be there when the sun came up again. And in really difficult times, and I've shared this encouragement with others before, all you need to do is to see the next sunrise. You know, that's all, right? You don't have to fix this today. As long as you know that there's the possibility of another sunrise, there is hope that this circumstance can change for you. And I just love that, the feeling. And I love to be outside when the sun is coming up, preferably exercising in the morning or something. It's not like, oh, well, dawn is cool. I really have like this special love for that time of the morning, you know? And I think that even your titling, Dose of Dawn, it's like that's just the right amount of medicine, right? Like you just need a dose of dawn.
That's my tagline, like dose of dawn, a dose of authenticity. It's your dose of alchemy. There you go.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Like you just need just that little bit, you know? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Dawn. For everyone who's joined us today, if you want to go deeper, first of all, make sure that you go to Dawn's Facebook group. I've posted it here below, but also the link to her website is posted with this video. Make sure you connect with her, learn more about her story, her services, and the way how she can help and serve you and your community. And if you want to go deeper with us, April is around the corner, y'all, which means our masterminds are starting super soon. Our members are going to be able to tap into 5 monthly masterminds led by 5 different amazing women, myself plus 4 women from around the globe. We are bringing these conversations on a deeper level, presentations, hot seats, Q&As, round tables, and small conversations and discussions around these topics of vision, voice, version, and victory, and really tapping into the power of our story to bring transformation to our lives, our families, the generations to come, and our communities. And we are doing all of this in support of the Beautiful Foundation. This organization has been, it's like extended the sisterhood, like just multiplied the sisterhood, because the Beautiful Foundation has this caring way of showing up when women are in those circumstances, as Dawn alluded to, where it just feels like nobody cares. You're crying out for help, and you know words. You're not a baby, you know words, but you can't actually articulate the help that you need. And to be able to come to a woman in that state and say, I do care, beautiful. I do see you. I do see the beautiful you. I see your circumstance too. I'm not going to pretend it's not happening. I'm going to help you with the circumstance, but I'm going to do that because I recognize the beautiful you that's there. And to call these women out, we call them out as beautiful and walk with them through the process of healing, of transformation, overcoming all various types of abuse, including substance abuse, helping them and their children. And it's such a powerful organization led by some of the most dynamic women that I have come across. There's some guys in there too. There's some guys who are leading. I met them. They're great guys. But obviously, we're here to promote the ladies in charge, right? And one of the ways we're celebrating them is with our Hey Sister, Let's Color event that's coming up in April. We are literally going to sit down and color together. It is that simple. But in that simplicity, it is profound because we're having conversations around the affirmations that accompany the images in the Soulful Color coloring book. And this was designed by and authored by one of our mastermind leaders, Sophia Sojay Jackson, who's also the voice you hear in the video, that sultry, soulful voice. That's Miss Sophia, and she'll be there leading our conversation on these affirmations. She's bringing her money mindset and her social, what am I saying now? Her social practitioner care to this conversation and leading us in deeper conversations as we get together. So make sure you register for the event. Make sure you get your me gifts curated by I'm losing all of my words today.
Got excited.
I know, right? I got excited. Divine Consecutive Concierge. What am I saying? Divine Executive Concierge. I really am excited about the event, though. So please join us and make sure that you are here to have fun. Make sure you're here to go deeper. Make sure you're here to allow us to ask you the crazy questions and to also allow yourself to pose crazy questions to the sisters, because that's what we're here for as visionary women, to create this new space. It's not new, but it's the new space we need for ourselves as visionary women, because we know that our visions are big. They're all out there. They're expansive. It's not just we have a vision. It's we have a huge vision. And we are energetic and passionate, and we are all of these things. And while that may have been described as complicated, and all other words have been used to describe us in this space of being big visionary women, we know what that makes us. We know how powerful that makes us and how much of a driving force it creates for us to blaze trails. So come into this space with your other visionary women sisters. That's right. And let's build better. Let's build it together. Dawn, do you have any final words of wisdom for our friends who've been on with us or watching us in the replay?
Well, I just want to say you all are freaking amazing, and there's never ever any feedback, or there's never any failure. There's only feedback. So give yourself grace. You're doing an amazing job, and keep on having that vision, and know that your thoughts will create your own reality.
Yes, absolutely. Your thoughts will create your own reality, sisters. Give yourself that grace, because you are, as Dawn says, freaking amazing. Oh man, Dawn, thank you again for spending the time with us this afternoon. And to all of our sisters, thank you. Remember, #replay and let us know what has resonated with you. And we will be back here again tomorrow, because March is not done yet. We are celebrating all month long Women's HERstory Month, and we'll be back here tomorrow at noon with another dynamic friend of ours and sister of ours to share her perspective on vision, voice, version, and victory. Until then, we'll see you.
See ya.
Hey, sister, sit and store what I'm about to preach on. Damn, sister, close the door. Watch what you step out on. I said, hey, sister, so before you become a sin, I said, hey, sister, there is more, even if you think there isn't. When you live your life day to day, there will always be obstacles in your way.